Okay, let's dive into this. Ever wonder what secret sauce is powering the biggest, most used apps on your phone or computer? Well, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at a piece of tech you have absolutely used, probably even today, whether you knew its name or not.
Seriously, think about it for a second. When you're deep into a binge watch on Netflix, or you're falling down that classic YouTube rabbit hole, what's actually making that experience so smooth and so fast? What's the engine running under the hood?
Well, it turns out the answer is this really powerful framework that kind of quietly shaped a huge part of the modern web. It all came from this one brilliant idea. What if websites could stop acting like clunky pages and start feeling more like sleek, responsive apps?
And that answer is AngularJS. So, what in the world is it? And more importantly, why was it such a complete game changer for developers and, for all of us using these apps every day?
To put it simply, AngularJS was a framework built by Google to basically make HTML a whole lot smarter. See, plain old HTML is awesome for static stuff, like a simple text page. But the apps we use today, they need to be dynamic. AngularJS gives developers the structure to build these complex single-page applications, the kind that update right before your eyes without ever needing to hit that refresh button. It makes everything feel so much more fluid and instant.
Now, talking theory is one thing, but I think the best way to really get a feel for the power of AngularJS is to see the absolute titans of industry who rely on it.
Let's start with a giant, shall we? The YouTube app that was specifically built for the Sony PlayStation 3. Yeah, that was running on AngularJS. We're talking about a massive, high-traffic, global video platform.
And then, of course, there's Netflix. The king of streaming also uses AngularJS to help deliver that seamless viewing experience. This just goes to show it can handle enormous amounts of data and constant clicking, searching, and playing from millions of users.
But hey, it's not just for kicking back and watching videos. This framework is super versatile. You'll find it in travel apps too. JetBlue's website, for example, uses it to handle all that dynamic info. Bookings, flight statuses, user accounts, you name it.
Even the most well-known weather site in the world, weather.com, is built with AngularJS. Think about that. It's constantly updating huge amounts of data in real time for literally millions of people all over the globe.
And honestly, the list just goes on. You'll find it everywhere, from user review apps like GoodFilms to huge freelance job portals like freelancer.com. The common thread there? They all need a dynamic, really responsive user experience. And that's exactly what AngularJS was built to do.
Okay, so we've seen where it's used. Pretty impressive, right? But now let's get into the how. How does it help build these amazing applications so darn efficiently? This is where we get to its brilliant design.
The secret sauce here is an architecture called MVC. That stands for Model View Controller. Now, instead of that tangled, messy spaghetti code you see on the left with traditional development, MVC neatly separates the app into three parts. Think of it like a car factory's assembly line. One team can be working on the engine, the data, another can be working on the car's shiny paint job, the visuals, and a third team can work on the steering wheel and pedals, the controls. They can all work at the same time in parallel. The result, a way faster, cleaner, and just easier way to build things.
And here's another feature that developers just adore: code reusability. They can build these self-contained components. Think of them like digital Lego blocks. And then it's as simple as this. You find the block you need, you copy it, you paste it into a new project, and that's it. You're done. It's this plug-and-play approach that saves a ridiculous amount of time.
So you can probably see why developers became such huge fans of this. It's not just about building stuff. It's about building it better, faster, and with way less of that boring, repetitive work.
It really just hands them this amazing toolkit. For instance, something called automatic data binding means the display and the data are always automatically in sync. No extra code needed. It also handles all the little dependencies between code parts, which makes testing a breeze. And with directives, developers get to basically invent their own custom HTML tags. It just takes care of all the grunt work so they can actually focus on creating cool new features.
And this framework is totally built to handle complexity. Get this, some major applications built with AngularJS have over 60, that's 60 different independent components all working together in a single app. That is a ton of complexity to juggle.
But here's the real kicker. Even with all those moving parts, the structure of AngularJS makes these massive projects surprisingly easy to manage. A new developer can jump onto a team, look at the code, and pretty quickly understand how everything is laid out. It was built for scale from day one. So, after hearing all that, you might be thinking,
Wow, this sounds incredibly powerful, but probably super difficult to learn. But here's one of the most surprising things about AngularJS. It's actually really simple to get started with.
No, seriously, that's it. That's your entry point. You don't have to throw out your old code and start from scratch. You can just start by adding a few special AngularJS attributes right into your normal HTML file, and boom, you're off to the races.
In fact, if you look at a lot of the official guides and tutorials out there, they promise that you can get your very first simple Angular app up and running in just a matter of minutes. It's designed for speed right from the very beginning.
So when you look at its raw power, its incredible efficiency, and how surprisingly easy it is to get into, it kind of leaves us with one final thought. From tiny prototypes all the way up to enterprise-level apps for giants like Netflix, AngularJS has more than proven itself. So the only question left to ask is, could this be the framework that brings your next big idea to life?